Hey, welcome to the Higher Day podcast. My name is Joe Way, and I am your host. And do we have a good one for you today? I'm excited because, all right, a little behind the scenes. We do a little bit of pre-talk before before I jump into conversations, and I'm just sitting here learning stuff. And at some point, you just got to hit record and bring this great information to you. Got kind of connected here really through the head of the site and sent an invite out and said, hey, love to have you on. And you probably saw him even post a little bit about retirement. So I love being able to hear a kind of historical perspective. See, I think that as we move into new technologies, and we love as AV people to talk about the new gear and the new gadgets and all that. But to put it into full perspective, we have to actually understand the history of where we came through. So we're going to have some conversations there. Well, actually, I don't know where the conversations to go because you know that I don't script anything. But I'm going to try to go back that direction. But with no further ado, again, everyone's favorite part of the show where I stop talking and our guest does. And so, Ken, welcome to the show. Please tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Ken Williams. I'm the chief engineer of a program at Auburn University, the Engineering Online program. We record classes online, and we have distance students that are getting college credits. We also service the business school here, and they will watch the stream, take tests by proxy. They get their college credits and their degrees. All of these are graduate level, of course, and we have about 500 or 600 on a semester basis. Students taking courses, about 100 courses, and it's all online, all recorded, and we have 21 classroom studios now. It's live. We have students in the classroom, and you get college credit. You get a degree at Auburn, and not nowhere on there does it say it's online. So people love it.
Yeah. So, all right. So give some perspective then. Then the studios, you said, are there students that are live in space, or is it solely streamed? And is it asynchronous, synchronous? Kind of lay that out for us.
All of that, yes. Well, we started back, I guess this program started in like 86 conceptually. They started teaching classes in 87. What they did was they set up a studio in a classroom, had college students enrolled on campus, and professor teaches the course with a microphone on, and we film them taking those classes. And they used to send we used to do places like Martin Marietta, Raytheon, NASA. We still do some of that. Navy, Air Force, Army, and they used to get tapes. Now they get a link to a stream in Canvas. They watch the videos, take the tests online or by proxy, and they get a credit for it. So it costs a little more because they're at distance, but people say they love it. All of our we've had quite a few graduations. I think our retention is better, in fact, than their on-campus courses sometimes.
Wow. All right, so give some perspective. I know you mentioned it started years ago, but now how did that? Talk about the change. Obviously, COVID is we always we kind of have this block in time, right, where we all kind of that's where we all moved online. But you were obviously doing this before that, right? So talk a little bit about kind of maybe I'm breaking my own rules. I'm asking a two-part question. Kind of the new landscape now, right? Because it's obviously more. I'll put air quotes here. Accepted, understood, whatever the words are, versus maybe before COVID. But talk a little bit about where you see that modern landscape. How did we get there?
Okay, well, that modern landscape, a lot of professors, even brick and mortar ones, to service their people at a distance, students who have to stay home for one reason or another, uh, students that have some disability sometimes. They seem to like to use Zoom a lot, but we use Panopto as our main recording source. This all occurred in steps, of course. Right now we're talking about. You said something about COVID. I'll come back to that in a minute, but I want to go back to the beginning of my history of this. In '94, I started here, right just before fall semester. So I had some. I used to work at a broadcast station, so I had engineering stuff, but none of this, like, it's all live. There's no recording it. There's no holding back. I mean, there's no like editing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we started at the time we had like 50 courses and maybe 300 students, but everybody was receiving tapes. Uh, this went on. Uh, I have so much of the technology side where I used to have to pull out my oscilloscope and my vector scope and my meters and put daughter boards in to do testing, do adjust
Mm-hmm.
all this analog stuff that used to go on. Those skills are kind of lost now, but they're kind of unnecessary because everything's digital. It's all controlled by digital science, which is so much more stable.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have to go in monthly to each one of our studios and align the video with all the cameras up and stuff like that. It's like nothing nowadays. But transitioning from tape to DVDs and then to online, DVDs came around in 2001. Online came in 2008. Uh, so we're not anything new to online courses. We've been teaching online here since 2008, and
Wow.
I actually programmed the first online recording automation. So I have a programming background too. Uh, but let's all fast forward a bit to 2020, and everybody has to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, the college can't just close. We have to do something. So they came to our department and said, "Can you help us? Because we know you guys do online." I'm like, "Sure. What do you need?" So here's the history. 2020, most colleges had to close for a week, close for 2 weeks. We didn't skip a step.
Mm-hmm.
We did not miss a single hour of class
Wow.
because we had Zoom was already a thing. Zoom was something we were using. Panopto was something we're using. All we had to do was teach some of the professors how to do this at home by themselves. And that is very easy because Zoom is rather easy. The hardest thing came with some of the professors don't like computers.
Yeah.
A lot of engineers don't seem to like computers, but they got used to it and they didn't actually miss a class because we saw it coming and we prepared. So in March of 2020, when we all went home, uh, everybody just kept going right on through, and Zoom became a thing that people want to do now. 2020 really changed the landscape, and so we went from at the time about 18 classrooms to now we can teach from anywhere, and
Mm-hmm.
that was starting to happen, but it was really accelerated by COVID. Uh, a lot of our professors now will Zoom from anywhere in the world. I mean, we have professors
Yep.
that don't that go to Germany to do some kind of research project, and in the afternoon they're teaching their class on Zoom. So
Yep. And to me, that's the greatest thing. And what I was a proponent of even prior to COVID was getting these, getting online components and streaming components into normal classes, right? Not making it saying you had to have online but why can't we make it so that we can have experts in the field teaching from anywhere, right? Why do they have to take a sabbatical every 7 years to go into research? Why can't they just teach from the research field? Right. There's a big difference with that, right? And be able to bring that to, obviously it improves, the quality of faculty that we can bring. It also improves the quality of instruction we can provide, right? So I love that that got exposed, and it's great that you were already pretty much able to do that. Start now. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right. So I need to ask you a question. This is where we start to go sideways. So I came through live events and audio side, and all of us OGs in the audio side always say, you know what? We miss the days of analog. What you could do. As I just thumbs up my own video. The
Yeah.
the
Like, what is that?
and it's like, well, okay. I guess I like my own question. For those who are watching the video and not listening to the audio, I just somehow thumbs up my own video. All right. Um, the we always say, there's something about that classic sound, and you'll get OGs that go, no, I hate the digital world, I hate this, even though it's not so much anymore, but especially during the transition. as a
Yeah.
as the OG video guy, and you made a comment just a few minutes ago about all the things that digital now can do. What are those kind of pros slash cons? Are there things that we're losing out on in going digital, or is the availability and all of that, and I don't want to say, the tools that can support it make up for that? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I actually was OG in audio too. I used to do church sound and event sound. I installed PA systems in buildings in New Jersey, and I mean, I started in high school. At 16,
Nice.
I was helping to install sound systems all around New Jersey. But when it comes to audio, digitizing audio and film, pictures, anything, people had kind of a bad taste in their mouth as far as that. I used to tell my wedding, my brides mothers and stuff, give me all the pictures you have, I'll digitize them and put them into a little montage. And they're like, oh, digitizing, no, that's going to look horrible. I'm like, no, it would have looked horrible 10 years ago. Today it's not going to look horrible. And even that was back in 98. And so we actually have come a long way. The first camera phones, it looked horrible. The first digital cameras looked bad. Just dark pictures with very little resolution, very little detail. And now we're talking about so much more capability. When it comes to video, you look at, if you watch any old video, the square format of analog video back then, it all seems nostalgic. But when it comes to video, digital has much improved our lives. As I was saying before, at the time when I first started working, we had 7 studios. Every one of those studios, I had to go in and do adjustments once a month because the cameras were all in these analog, rather industrial quality rather than broadcast. If anybody knows, if you guys, I know I'm talking to an audience that probably can understand what I'm talking about. Whereas
yes, hashtag nerd alert. Yes.
Yeah, nerd alert. Exactly. Hey, I'm a nerd. I admit it. I love it. And I'm also a geek. So there we go.
Oh, you got a double whammy.
Yeah. But it's so interesting the way that if you look at that old video, the interlacing of lines, and there was only, VHS was only 230 horizontal lines. And now we're getting talking, 2600 or 2460. That's your horizontal lines or your vertical lines, I guess. 38, 34 something horizontal lines. And we're going up, 8K is to the point where your eye cannot really tell the difference between 4K and 8K. The only reason we're doing 8K is we want the screens to be bigger, So it is interesting looking at the old stuff now and comparing it to the new, because frankly, I'm glad we went digital, because if we hadn't, analog video just can't serve the way digital does.
Yeah.
So even though I've got a lot of background in analog video, I my dad was an electronics engineer, and even he taught me back when I was 11 and 12 what a video signal was supposed to look like and how it was produced and things like that. And nowadays it's so much different. But I I don't actually miss, because I could not manage 21. Actually, it's 23 studios. We
Wow.
just installed 2 new studios, and I actually handed them over to the business building for their own use. So I won't be managing those other two, but they they trusted me to completely build it all on my own.
Yeah.
And I have no staff under me. I have occasionally had an assistant. You can't push a wire and pull it at the same time. But as far as design, even conceptualizing what I'm trying to do and designing and building it and then maintaining it, it's all been me. Um, but I had to come up to speed quick, and I've always said that's one of my strengths is I learn very fast. So I learned how to program myself, and then I went and took courses and passed them all with flying colors. You see the wall
Hmm.
full of
The wall of fame right behind you there.
yeah, three degrees, and uh, the bottom one is project management, IT. But I'll ace everything. Uh,
You, see, I love that. Now I want to kind of tone in on something here because you said this in our pre convo, but also just alluded to it. One of the things a lot of those streaming departments that have to do this is, say getting staffing and scaling. Well, you are a staff of one, and yet you can effectively have multiple studios at scale. What is the secret to that? How do you make that successful, not having to necessarily be labor dependent?
uh, well, we had to have first of all, we started with a paradigm of one person recording and one person teaching. The person teaching doesn't have to worry about the recording part. So the only thing different than teaching a class, because they teach classes here on campus, the only thing different our professors do is wear a microphone.
Hmm.
Say they interact with the um, technology in the front of the room. Uh, your computer, your laptop, your overhead. They have projectors, and we've actually put some LED screens on the front of the room so that they'll be brighter, and you can light them, and the cameras won't be shooting somebody in the dark. Although we do have some good Sony cameras that I just pushed Sony. Sorry.
Quite all
uh,
right. It's all right. They're a wonderful, wonderful sponsor.
yeah.
You can do that.
They have some wonderful low light capabilities on some of the robotic cameras, but we like to light it too. With video doesn't happen without light. So we've taught our professors not to have to worry about it. But in the backside, I tried to keep it simple. Uh, small, smaller is better. So we have a camera controller, uh, an audio mixer, and a video mixer. And those video mixers are industrial type, digital, of course, but they are simplified. I have either programmed or set them up so that it's a one push button to
Hmm.
change a camera view, or to change to go to a dual shot or something like that. It's a one button type push. And so there's not a lot of, I like to call them points of failure. There's not a lot of points of failure between the camera picking up the professor and the video recording that's happening in the it actually goes onto a live stream, so it's through a computer. We
Hmm.
actually we I came up with something when we were talking about changing from tape to live, because as you know, we always had a master tape, and we would record our copies that go to the student, we record them live
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier to if we had classes upwards of 80 students, so it's better to record all those live. So we had 120 VCRs at one point, by the way.
Oh,
Uh, so
that
when
just
it
gives me
came
the
to
heebie-jeebies.
yeah, and I had made it so that they would flip one switch and push a button, and the 80 of them would hit at once. The other 40 of them were on a remote control. You could hit record, and they would all start. Uh, we also had some controllers that were IR based that I anyway. I'm digressing again.
I love it.
When we came to online, if you have one recording, if you're like you're right now, you're recording this online, and if something were to happen, your computer would just die. Since this is recorded and then produced later, we could just start over. Well,
Mm-hmm.
someone's teaching a live class, you can't just start over. So what I did was, for every room there's a recording, we have another machine just recording the entire thing. So record the two streams, the lectern feed and the camera feed, on a computer for 12 hours a day, just sits there and records, and that's all it does. So if for some reason the original recorder dies in the middle of a class, I will just pull it from the backup. That's what we call it. We just grab the video, cut it, throw it online. And sure, it wasn't live for those people that wanted to watch it live, which they can. We have both synchronous and asynchronous, but also it's stored there, so a student taking the class can get to their final exam and go back and watch whatever of the videos that happened that semester. Watch them
So
again.
yeah, so it's having that redundancy of the capture and then being able to say, okay, ideally everything is synchronous together, you get all that. But if there is a fail somewhere, which of course you've already eliminated you're trying to eliminate the points of failure. But if, it's technology, things will fail at some point.
Right.
So when it happens, the redundancy then allows you to say, okay, we can now manually go back, make this change. And in the end, everybody is still served.
Right. The worst thing you want to do is tell a professor who's very busy to begin with, oh, you're going to have to reteach this class for the online people.
Oh yeah, no, that wouldn't
That's
fly.
an hour and a half. They don't want to have to get back, and we do take advantage of that. I would say that we have failures. I would say probably once a week out of our 150, or no, excuse me, upwards almost 300 hours a week now. With our 20 classes, 40 hours a week. That's around 400. That's 400, right? But we actually record about 280 right now. So we have 280 hours of class hours. So if you had to keep, even an hour and a half, it doesn't seem like a lot. But if you do that twice a week, you're taking a lot of professors' time. But if it's just twice a week and all we have to do is grab a video, cut the beginning and ending off, and set it online, that's what we do. It's much easier than having to tell a professor and then having to find a time to do it. Because if we're recording 280 hours, now we have to find an available space that they're available to come in. And we do have a studio they can use. That's our 22nd room.
Yeah.
Anyway,
22nd room. We can't let that go. 22nd room. What's that mean? Oh, 22nd, not 20 seconds.
No.
Number 22. Yeah. I'm like, wait, 22nd room. This is that like timeout? You get in
21
trouble,
live.
there?
We have 21 studios that are classroom that are live in 4 different buildings. And if you can imagine managing that, sometimes I have to go 3 blocks down the road, and I have a little golf cart. So I just jump in my golf cart and go. It's interesting, but so room number 22 is a studio that's right down the hall. And we also do non-credit stuff in there. We do certificate programs. in there, and so we'll have a merit scholar or something come in there and you know
Mm-hmm.
give a certificate course for like we have one of the biggest ones is surveying. We have surveyors that come and take their yearly. They have to certify. So there's different courses they can take to recertify their and keep their knowledge up to speed
Mm-hmm.
for the state. So that's room number 22. And sometimes a professor will come in and reteach his class, but that was the idea anyway. But it hasn't happened because of our backup system.
Yeah.
The
So
redundancy is something.
that is that is good. So I also I want to make sure too. I want to save some time before we hit record. You're big into film stuff too. So you've got camera collection. Let's get into some fun stuff here too. Um,
Okay.
because what about the historical? Like we just talked about the digital. Now let's get into the historical. Well, I guess let's start by saying. So tell everyone a little about your passion. You mentioned it before we hit record. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, it all started back in college in 1977. Actually, before that, in '75, I found a camera in the attic of one of my friends, and I can go back. My dad gave me a Brownie when I was 8, so I had a Brownie when I was 8. Anybody who doesn't know what a Brownie is, it's a 120 millimeter or 120 film, 6x4 at the time, I think, 60 by 40 millimeter. So that happened, but then so I found this camera and I always liked taking pictures, but moving from like a 110, if you understand in those, or one of the compact Kodaks, Polaroid, things like that, to a real 35 millimeter camera, and I'm going to show off my Pentax right
Yes,
now.
for those watching, he's got the Pentax in
The
the if you
Pentax
want to
ME
check the video.
Super, and yeah, there's film in it. 400 ASA Fuji. Fuji's pretty good. Everybody's like, "No, it's Kodak, Kodak," but hey, I do want to share one little picture I have with you on my phone. It's gonna be hard to see, but there it is.
Let
Took
me see
that
if
with.
I can spotlight you. We're gonna try things here. Hold on, we're gonna try. Let's see. Solo layout. Boom. Let's see if this happens. There
There
we
we go.
go. Spotlight you. Check that
All
out.
right. Yeah, my
Love
office
it.
is a mess, but I took this with a 200 millimeter or 70 to 200 millimeter with this camera.
That is pretty
Film,
awesome.
had it processed and scanned, and that's what it looks like. It looks much better in person. So I wish you could look at the actual, because look at the blue of the skies, and I don't know if it
No, it
translates
comes
to
out.
the
Yeah.
recording, but there's so much difference between the blue here and the blue here. It's uh, it's amazing. This I show someone this picture and they go, "Whoa!" Pictures I've taken with this little camera, and it's one of those mechanical. It has actually got some electronic features in it. So once you set it, you have to wind it, and the film rolls up in the back. I can't open it because the film's in there, but it's so satisfying to go wind, click. It takes me back to the days when
Nostalgic, huh?
the first picture I ever sold in '78 was the picture of the eclipse that happened that year.
Oh wow!
So taken with a camera much like this. So
So
now I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go right ahead.
I was going to say, but this is my new digital cameras, Canon R7, with 12 millimeter lens on it. It's crazy. It's crazy what this camera can do. 4K video at 60 hertz, HD at 120 hertz, but it's 33 megapixels. It's probably one of the better values in cameras right now. And I've got this small rig attached to it, so you're not going to hurt it if you drop it, hopefully. Unless you drop it on the lens. Huh?
As they say, the only person who's ever done who's you'll never do a mic drop if you had to buy one, right? Like people pay for a mic,
Exactly.
you've never done a mic drop, or you'll stop it. However it goes, but yes, you don't want to drop your can. But like, so okay, so now I've got a number of questions. Hopefully, I can get to them here. That like there is the nostalgia behind the first camera. Then there's the hey, I've got my new stuff. And this can do amazing things. Do you go back and forth? Is there a preference? Obviously, easier to digit. Like, what makes you go, hey, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I'm going to pick this one?
So I have two of these camera straps, and see it attaches to the camera. And if I'm doing this, I just attach it there. Now I have my camera. Throw that over my shoulder. I got the digital on one shoulder and the analog on the other. I like to combine them. Take one of each. One thing I tell you, especially with film, if I roll this, snap it, and I've got 36 exposures in my roll. Right now, I'm at 28. I mean, I got to wait a bit. I'll never see this picture for like a month.
Yeah, that's true. As opposed to the digital, you could take as many and get it right there.
If I'm like taking this picture, it's right there. I know what it came out like. So what I like to do is the digital is also going to be higher resolution, less grain, but the analog just has this quality to it. And it's one of the reasons everybody's into HDR now. It's the dynamic range of film. We're just now starting to imagine that with digital.
So you were saying that you were educating me earlier. So that's one of the things with digital. HDR really gets that old style back into the new, right? So talk a little bit about that.
Well, as you know, the average digital right now has been like 16 megapixels, 16 million colors, but the dynamic range is all dependent on that, RGB, which is, 255 by 255 by 255 or 256 actually. But having said that, when you talk about film doesn't have 16 million colors. It has infinite colors. Whatever color, whatever light hits the film, that film is able to capture such. It's not infinite, of course. Nothing's infinite, but film is actually capturing like billions of colors. And to parse that down to a digital scan of that, even it's not the same. And so what HDR has given us is the ability to emulate that ability to capture all of that color by actually mixing pixels side by side. So you get a better mixture, but it's all harder to explain than I could explain it, because I'm not, I didn't develop or design the stuff, but I'm using it and I love it. I'm in love with all things technical. That's why that's why my personal email address is egadgetguy. I'm a gadget guy, but only when it comes to, even when it comes to electronic gadgets. So
I love it. No, I think it's awesome to have that perspective. So then give me now, okay, you've got the historical side, you see where it trends, but put on the crystal ball. I'll throw it out. Is it film technology, streaming technology, video technology? Where are we going to be in higher ed, say 5 years, 10 years from now?
Well, I think and it started before COVID, but it really was like put on hyperdrive during COVID. For professors, they want to get their stuff out. If they have someone that's not in the classroom, because we're talking about technology outside the class or in the classroom, but to push that outside, I really think that more and more professors are wanting to do it themselves, right at their computer, either in their office or in their classroom, if they're wanting to do a live class. and also have people at a distance. I think they're wanting to do it themselves. I don't foresee, but I see a trend of
Mhm.
professors going, yeah, I'll just do it myself. I'll just resume it. We get
Hmm.
professors about right now, we're at about 5% of the professors that quote unquote teach one of our courses. They just want to do it themselves.
Yeah. And the thing is, I'll jump in there. I think I can see a lot of listeners going, "Oh no, well then what's that mean to my job?" But I think it's a good thing. If we look at consumer technology, we're recording this CES week, right? And we look at the direction consumer technology is going. The tools are so good now, right? And they're coming in reasonable prices, and we can set up a decent home studio for very cheap, right? Very easily. And I think if we kind of build that into our tools, our canvases, our online tools, all that, there's no reason that faculty can't have their own, ability to do it in very high quality, and also putting that technology into our classrooms as automation becomes better and AI technologies and camera tracking becomes better. All of these things we're still in the infancy of, right? These have really only been uh, good enough for a corporate use, and I'll call higher ed a corporate use, for maybe the last 3 to 4 to 5 years, and I'm stretching if I say 5, right, to where we would trust it. So
Yeah.
just double that. Look where we're going to be, right?
Yeah. And it's not about losing jobs because as long as there's technologies, there's going to have to be somebody to install it,
Hmm.
for the classrooms and maintain it to design the new systems of tomorrow. You've
Hmm.
got to be out there doing that and figuring out for each one of the people that are technology managers in their departments on their campuses, figuring out what's going to work best for the classes that are there. We have a big technology department here. I'm actually small potatoes compared to them. I have 22 classes, 22 classrooms. They have hundreds
Yeah.
that they have to maintain and build build in the ability to have a camera in the classroom that follows the professor, and build in the ability for your Shure or Clear One or whatever ceiling mic that's going to pick a Clear One. Good system. Sure, their MX systems. I think it's a 391. It's just a panel it's like a drop
Hmm.
ceiling panel. Uh, Using Dante as a way to integrate that, you know, uh, and the way it does its zones,
Hmm.
where the professor doesn't even have to wear mics anymore. We have two buildings where the professor doesn't even wear mics anymore. So having that kind of technology, you've got to have somebody that understands it, can build it, can maintain it, can can upgrade it, things like that.
Yeah.
It's not going to go to the point where we're out. I mean, I'm out
Yeah.
next month, but
I know you're
that's by
retiring.
choice. And
Yeah.
that's where this camera comes in. I mean, I repair these too. I've got 20 right now. Uh, I've got three of them up for sale because I've repaired them, bought them for a song, repaired them, reselling them. Got about seven that I want to keep about three or four of them. I've got if anybody's interested in the models, the oldest one I have is a Argus C3, 1954.
Oh wow.
It's still in its original leather case, that brown leather, with the lens in a little case that attaches to the strap and all that. It's a beautiful metal piece of it works. I didn't have to
Yeah.
fix it, you know. And then I've got uh, excuse me, I've got a Nikon FM that works really good. I just sold a Nikon F2 that didn't, I go to states sales and stuff like that, pick things up at thrift stores. It's funny. My wife will go, "Did you buy another camera? Why are you spending all this money?" It was $20, and I'm going to sell it for $100 after I fix it. So, that type of thing. So that's what I'm going to be doing after I leave here. Hopefully they'll be able to. And if there's any of you guys watching and that uh, job opening is still open, and
Get in
come
there.
here to the most beautiful city in the plains, most beautiful probably city in the United States. Probably not, but it's a wonderful
Go
city
with
to
it.
work. They need someone that can figure this out. We've got 22 studios that need constant monitoring, maintenance, updating.
Yep. I
I'm
encourage
not going to
people,
be here.
go to the transfer portal channel. You'll see it posted there. And you're just listening to this, a few days after we're recording it. So it's there, it's live. Get that in, especially if you're in the area. Huge opportunity. So we need to transition because I knew this conversation would go long, to a little rapid round. So we're going to do this kind of in the honor of retiring here. So I'm going to have some fun with it. I just make these up as I go along, but everyone does get the same question, and that is, what is your favorite college tradition?
I'm going to have to stop for a minute because I'm not a sports guy. I told you before, I'm a nerd. I'm a geek.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not into sports, but here, I wish they'd stop rolling the trees because you know what rolling is, TPing. They TP the trees downtown when we win. We used to, I never did it, but they used to TP your house, on the day before Halloween. And that's, to me, what I feel about TPing. But these people that go TP the corner when they win, I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, well, Auburn doesn't win a lot right now, so you don't have to worry about too often.
So, well, yeah.
Sorry, everybody. I had to. That was low hanging fruit. I had to do it.
They've had
But you had some good runs.
Days,
you had some good runs.
So,
all right, that's fair. All right, so then in the geek realm, what is your favorite? Like, what is your gadget? What's your gadget thing then that you have? That it doesn't have to be technology based. What's your favorite little old style gadget? What do we have to bring back?
Walkie-talkies.
Walkie-talkies.
Used to love doing. I used to carry a digital camera, a phone, because the phones back then, they didn't have cameras that were worth anything. A GPS back in 2001 when it started. So I was carrying my phone, my camera, my GPS, and my walkie-talkie, because when we went shopping and all of us got separated, you can always do this thing where we'll meet you back in 2 hours at the fountain, but it's better like, where are you right now? Oh, I'm over in Neiman Marcus. Oh, well, stay away from the purses. We don't need those and stuff like that. It's and then of course, Small Talk, I think it was called. They started doing their walkie-talkie style phones, and we had to get our walkie-talkies to have the silent modes so that we wouldn't get interrupted by people using their phones. But anyway, I digress. Walkie-talkies were fun. CB radios. Right. I still have mine. It's not installed, but
I mean, a lot of AU departments are still using walkie-talkies, but not in real life. Not in real life. We don't use them like we did as kids. So, all right, that's fair. All right, another question. Going back in the background behind you, there is a device that has a cord on it and push buttons. I think they call it a telephone.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen these.
Explain to the audience what that is.
Let me get my microphone out of the way. This is a special thing that only we have. Most of the ones we have are red. But you pick this up, you can talk to any of the classrooms. If I push this button, hey, Scott, I'm going to hit the buzzer just ignore it. You hear that? We can buzz a room in this building. I had to actually rebuild that because when I came, there was a board sitting on the floor with power supply sitting beside it and all these telephone wires just kind of connected everywhere. And telephone wires, if they move, they break. So solder to this board telephone wires, and they would just snap off. So what I did was I got a project box and built everything inside of it. But we still use it. This building, it's only internal to the building. We have it hardwired, and it's not actually a telephone; it's an intercom.
But I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect that.
Here's my telephone.
All right.
Here's my telephone.
That's the standard old. That's the stand. Did not expect that answer. That was the. I'm so glad I asked that. See, look at how we move. Look how we've changed, right? And that's what I'm saying. I don't know why we still call them phones, because we don't actually make calls on them anymore.
Yeah, we do. Here we do. Texting, taking. I take pictures on my phone too when I don't have my big camera with me. I had to offload the film. This is my work phone. I had to offload like 800 pictures off of it that are my pictures. So I'm giving it up in a month. So I had to get those off. So.
All right. So the next, we're only a couple more quick ones here. I always have to ask the food. All right. So let's say you're in retirement and I happen to swing through the area and we're going to go have some food and drink. Where are we going? What are we having? What do I have to have?
Oh my God. There's so many. There's this little place in Montgomery. It's called Martin's. If you ever get to Montgomery, look up Martin's. They have the best fried chicken you ever wanted. And
okay.
You get the green beans and you put the pepper sauce on it. You know what pepper sauce is, right?
You mean like Tabasco sauce?
No. It comes in this little jars, and it's like they take vinegar in at the factory and they pour vinegar in, and there's these tiny little green chili peppers inside. And so those green chili peppers soak into the vinegar and becomes this what they call pepper sauce.
And you put that on your fried chicken?
No, you put it on your green beans.
Your greens.
You put it on your greens.
Oh well, that would actually make vegetables. I don't do vegetables, so people not like I give them
a little spice. Give them
so you know what? I would try that. I would have fried chicken on both sides of that bite. But okay.
We entertained some guys from New York a couple of years ago. I don't know if you've ever seen. They did I actually was a videographer in a documentary about F. Scott Fitzgerald. F. Scott Fitzgerald in Connecticut is the name of the show. It's a documentary. They came here. They're from New York. Connecticut is where F. Scott was really talking about when he wrote The Great Gatsby. I know this is a sidebar, but I shot the video when they were here in Montgomery, and I took them over there, and they couldn't get over the pepper sauce. And that fried chicken, oh my, just like juicy on the inside and crunchy on the outside. Just good fried chicken.
That is awesome. That's awesome. All right. One more rapid round, and then it's not really one more, but it's one more, and then there's the last one. One more before the last one. What's the first thing you're going to do in retirement?
We're going to go to Savannah. Going to go take another trip to Savannah. The last time my wife had a back problem and she couldn't go. Just talking about food. I don't know. Have you ever been to Tybee Island? There's a little place there called Salt Island Beer and Fish, or Fish and Beer.
Good combo.
The freshest. I would say it's the best shrimp I've ever had. Period. I'm 65, and it's the best shrimp I've ever had.
All right.
In
Savannah.
So many
Georgia.
great places to do in Savannah. Some great tours. I don't like ghost tours myself, but they claim to be one of the cities that claims to be the most haunted in the United States. So there's that. But then they have some great restaurants. There's a little coffee shop called Perk. Beautiful shop, beautiful coffee, and some great food. Just there's a place called Willie's Barbecue that's been on trending on YouTube lately. these Brits came over, and one of the YouTubers that lives in this area took them to Willie's Barbecue, and they were just like amazed. So that's where we want to go. We haven't been there. Uh,
All
but
right.
it's a
All right.
beautiful place.
I like it. I like
And
it a
then we're
lot.
going on an Alaska cruise in September.
Oh, there you go.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's the one. I'm sorry, my wife wants to do that, but I can't. No, I give me the Caribbean, give me warm. I'm not going to pay money to go somewhere where it's cold, even if it's somewhere it's still cold. I'm from LA. Okay, this. Yeah, no, can't do it. Can't do it.
Okay.
But that's all right. Then the last. What are you going to miss most about higher education,
What am I going to miss most?
or your role, or whatever, or your school, like
I would say well, it's not just the excitement; it's almost the stability of just how, in corporate America, there's always this trend of let's do it this way, let's do it that way. In higher education, they just want to do the traditional way, and sometimes that's bad, but sometimes it's good to know that things are stable.
Yeah,
Stability is one thing, uh, but also just being able to be involved in changing people's lives in the way of finding ways to teach
yeah,
and to help students progress and succeed in their careers. So
yeah. That is great. And I totally agree. I can't imagine not being in higher ed. So I wish you luck with that transition. And then you get the final word here. So this last bit, this is appropriate for you as you take an exit. I'm giving you 1 minute. The show can be anything you want it to be. 1 minute to talk about anything you want. Here's your lasting moment. The soapbox is yours. You can talk about anything. It doesn't have to be technology. You can name whatever. You get a minute to talk about whatever you would like, and your time starts now.
well, what I want to tell people about is I want to encourage people to continue to innovate. We're we're the behind the scenes people, but we're the people that make it happen. Without me, without someone like me at this university, where's the stuff come from? How do they teach classes online if they don't have us? But we need to continue to innovate, continue to be at the forefront of technology, and not be afraid of thinking out of the box. Kind of like chicken. Chickens only know one word because they can't think out of the box.
You're
I
the
know it's a
first to
bad
ever give
joke.
a joke while doing that. Wow. All right. All
I,
right.
I heard I heard that last night. I had to share it, but just continue to expand your horizons. Just I encourage you. I'm about to contract my horizons because I'm done. I've been doing this for
Mhm.
30 years here. I've been doing it for 45 years. Because I actually more than that because I started at 16, so it's 48 years, I guess, but 49. I can't count. Just, but I've never said we've never done it that way. Don't ever say that. That's the one phrase I never want to hear,
Hmm.
or one sentence, I guess it is.
Yeah.
We can do it
So true.
that way if we want to. We can figure it out. When I came here, when I started having to change everything in the room, I didn't say, we've never done this digital thing. We've never done this online thing. So figure out how we can make it happen. That's what I want to say is make it happen.
Love it. I love it. That is fantastic. That was good. That was great advice, and no one said joke during it before. So that you have done your mic camera drop moment. I love it. And I guess obviously you're leaving the school, but hopefully people connect with you on LinkedIn. They can connect with you and find you. How can people find you if they want to connect and even just follow your photography?
Yeah, I've got a new. I don't even remember the link, but you can always find me on LinkedIn, eGadget Guy, eGadget Guy anywhere, eGadget Guy on Twitter, X is It's got to be
Oh,
Twitter again.
yeah, I just still call it Twitter. I don't care. And
If you try to find me on, not Imgur, what's the other one? Instagram. You're not going to find me on Instagram because for some reason I got stopped. I got blocked. But anyway, I digress. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. That's egadgetguy@gmail.
that works. So
Anything
there,
like that.
make sure everybody you follow and connect, because I'm excited to see the stuff you put out. I'm a little bummed it took this long for us to connect, but I have enjoyed this so much. It has been great to have you on. So I do want to thank you for that, and thank you for your time and your service to higher education and our tech industry over years. So thank you for that. And of course, everybody, I encourage you also to follow me at higher education. The socials. Find us on all the socials. And as always, none of the opinions expressed here necessarily those of our respective institutions, organizations, or sponsors of the show. And if you did not like any of these opinions, there will be better ones next time.